Thank you so much, Bethany. And thank you guys for allowing me to come onto this platform. Super excited to learn more from you. And hopefully, you get something out of my presentation as well. The three key areas that I'm going to focus on is effective prompt engineering, AI supported market analysis, and data driven decision making. Specifically, obviously, as we think about our students becoming business leaders of tomorrow. So, those are the three key areas. And this is involving simple activities, assignment, read designs, and an ethical use frameworks as well. The two areas that I always tend to focus on when I'm in the classroom is understanding these concept of academia and then also the concept of industry. I do believe that both of them are very, very much important to our students as they move on from academia, they have to transition into industry. So thinking about peer-reviewed insights is more of that academic approach, where we look at the AI adoption and accelerating across industries. Obviously, it's measuring gains in productivity, forecasting accuracy, and decision quality. On the Fortune 500 front, which I'll have a few examples here in a moment, AI diagnostics and predictive service models, surgical robots, which I've had some experiences with from Medtronic, to AI-supported R&D and portfolio optimization at Thermo Fisher Scientific. So thinking about why it matters is the first point, right? And then we think through the three essential AI competencies, right? And I talked about this a moment ago. Prompt engineering, making sure that we look at AI supported market analysis. Again, my area of expertise is really around marketing, and then data driven decision making. And so these are the foundation skills and that are really essential, right, in order to excel beyond what we used to have in the 2000s and on. So the first one is the prompt engineering. When you think about that, it's really the ability to design structured contextual prompts that guide AI toward accurate, ethical, and actionable outputs. My experiences at GE Healthcare had the opportunity to look at structured prompts to generate predictive maintenance insights, improving service efficiencies and contributing to 5.5% service revenue growth. What does that look like in the classroom? I would take that into an activity or we call it a prompt rewrite challenge, right? And so give students a vague prompt, have them rewrite it using their role, context, their constraints, output format, and then compare results within the classroom. That's one example for, again, prompt engineering. The next thing to think about around prompt engineering is actually something that's based back to the literature. So published back in 23, there's the RISE model. So that's where you look at the role, the input, the steps, and the expected output. So the role being, again, the simple framework for high quality AI response, define the expert persona and perspective, looking at what we do in terms of input for providing data, context, any constraints. And then we look at the steps. So outline the logic behind it, the reasoning behind it, any comparisons. And then we look at that expected output, specify the format and type of output you expect. Right. So when we're asking students to model in this framework, we start to get a different level of thinking versus simply, copy and pasting something that they might have gotten from a chat GPT or another component. So the second competency, AI supported market analysis, that's where we're defining as AI synthesized market data, competitor moves, pricing trends, customer sentiment in minutes, right? We leverage looking at different platforms and looking at different reviews that are out there. Again, leveraging the technology. Example of that was at Medtronic. I used AI supported analytics to identify 300 million in software as a service opportunities, shaping 40 million robotics platform roadmap, right? And so, how does that translate to classroom activity? An AI powered market scan. So, identifying competitors, right? It's a more centralized and simplistic way of doing that. Summarizing market trends, building a SWOT analysis, which we often see in a lot of these marketing courses, and then recommending strategic moves, right? So when we think about that in the market analysis teaching framework, we think about triangulation, so having multiple sources. We think about cross-checking with industry reports, bias detection, and then obviously ethical sourcing. It's interesting how we have shifted from having to do this in multiple sites versus potentially having it in one area. And then the third one is the competency around data-driven decision making, defining that as AI enabling faster, more accurate decisions when paired. Not on its own, not solo, but when paired. That's the key. So Thermo Fisher Scientific, I worked there and looked at re-engineering KPIs, so your key performance indicators, and optimizing a $25 million operating budget, improving capital allocation during a record 39 billion revenue year. And how does that translate? So looking at that from a classroom perspective, AI enhanced decision lab, right? So input a business scenario, ask AI for options, evaluate the risk, ROI, and feasibility, and then present a recommendation. Part of that data-driven decision making also teaches students to ask AI for multiple options, right? They're not solely focused on one. They're getting the pros and the cons that are around it, not again just focused on one area. They're quantifying those financial impacts. They're identifying the risks and those risk assumptions that are out there. And then are making a final decision supported by data, not just by what a system told them, right? It's multiple layers and not just one area. There is a model called the ACT model, which is acknowledge when AI is used, cite the tool and the prompt, and then transforming that output. So no copy and paste. I think that's critical. And again, I have some peer reviewed research that supports it when you're looking at providing a student the opportunity to leverage AI in the classroom, right? So just it's almost like citing your sources. Again, I've talked about three of these, but the last I'll say is Procter& Gamble, Bristol Myers Squibb, Sigma Aldrich, and Sun Chemical in terms of case studies. Use your own experiences, right? And what maybe institutions are doing today or in industry because this is the correlation when people graduate and move on into from academia into industry, and they have to have some correlation. So AI supported R&D, product lifecycle optimization, market forecasting, cost reduction analytics. These are just a few things that I was able to do from a industry perspective. Classroom assignments that this could relate back to AI powered marketing plan. We always talk about marketing plans. Students can use AI to identify segments, build personas. That's really critical. Draft messaging and even validate with data. They have AI enhanced operations simulations. So students can input operational constraints, ask AI for optimization strategies, compare outcomes. And then the last one there is AI supported financial modeling, where we're asking the AI model to provide a revenue model, right? There is the validation piece that is important. So we have to understand validation assumptions and then present a CFO ready summary, right? And so with all of that, I would say, how do we, implement this as educators tomorrow? You have to add AI to existing assignments. Don't create new ones. Require prompt logs. So you can ask the students to actually provide you with the log of all the prompts and the information that they've been able to solidify when in their project or their assignment. But that should be a requirement. Use AI for drafting, students to, for refinement. So, hey, here's my paper, refine or help me to edit. Teach bias detection. That's another important piece there. And I'm sure some of you might heard the term hallucination. So those are another layer to that. And then you use AI to accelerate feedback cycles. So getting additional feedback. If we were preparing our future ready leaders, we'll make sure that we have a guided AI. We validate the AI. We're challenging the AI. We're using AI ethically. And then we're making decisions with AI supported data. And with that, I welcome anyone to connect with me if you have any questions and appreciate your time.